Maybe Ovi can do a chase up, see whether Aaron is going to appear. I know it's about 6 p.m. I think, or some 5 p.m. 3 in the afternoon for Aaron in Florida.
He's not in Florida.
Oh no, he's in Denver now. Right, so it's probably 1 o'clock or something, like wherever he is. I don't know. I get confused. I'm a little islander. I am. So, I get completely confused as to where we are in the world and what time it is. That's why all my clocks are set to UTC, because I like to try to keep things simple. But, well, first of all, welcome, everybody. I'm delighted that so many of you could take some time out to turn up here. And as you know, it's we've renamed this the Kubuntu Cafe Live. And so I'll explain a little bit more about that in a moment, but I'm going to use these slides here that I just uploaded to give me a little bit of a steer. I've got a plan, but really there is no plan at all. We're just going to it's just going to unfold as it unfolds. But let me first of all give you a little bit of a summary as to what's going on. So the first thing is, why the new format? So for those of you that had been following either the Kubuntu parties in the early days and, of course, the Kubuntu podcast, you'll know that our ambitions with the Kubuntu podcast were really to generate a reasonably well-produced podcast. Now, that involves some video editing, it involves audio editing, it involves getting the right equipment and the right microphones, and then being able to post-process that, putting together show notes and organizing all of those things. It was a really great plan, and all three of us, Ovi, Aaron, and myself, were all really enthusiastic to do it. However, it takes a huge amount of time, and the early shows that we did put together took hours post-recording of the show to actually aggregate all the notes, edit everything up, do all the video editing and everything else. So we started trying to narrow that down and trying to stream it live onto YouTube and things like that. But of course, what that was doing was we were given this impression of Kubuntu podcast, and of course everybody knows what a podcast is, so they were expecting something of that kind of quality, and we simply, with this tiny little team that we had and the expertise that we had, we weren't able to produce something of that kind of level of quality. So recently we got together again. I was out for the summer. I've been dealing with some family issues and some things like that, which in my personal life, that meant that I really couldn't spend any time over the summer with Kubuntu from around about May time. But I'm back now, and I'm able to spend some time working on this. So we got around the table and we said, okay, well, look, we know we want to do a show like this. We want to have the video, the audio that people can listen to. We want to involve the community and create that feel. We discovered that we really liked the Kubuntu party idea, which was totally freeform, and we did some really crazy things like robot skittles and all kinds of things that we messed about with. We really liked that format, and it was very comfortable for people, and we realized that we weren't able to produce this podcast. So I think it was Ovi then who put forward the idea of this Kubuntu Cafe Live and said, well, why don't we just do it live, stream it straight to YouTube, no video editing, no show notes, no support like that at all, and we'll just simply have like an unconference type format. And so that's what Kubuntu Cafe Live is. And the plan at the moment is to do this each month. And you can look at the calendar on kubuntu.org, and you can see the dates for when this takes place. They take place at 2100 hours UTC on a Saturday. And basically the format is what you see here. So here's a quick summary of what we're going to run through today. We'll give you some updates from the Kubuntu Cafe team. So at the moment, the Kubuntu Cafe team are myself, Aaron, and Ovi. Then what we'll do is, well, obviously we're supported by a few people. So we have a couple of sponsors that help us with providing infrastructure and things like that. And I think, we'd agreed that in the sponsoring, providing the functions for us, that we would give them some support on these shows. So more about that when we get to that. Then we're going to do an unconference slot. So this is where really I need you, the audience, to feed into the chat things that you want to talk about, things for discussion, or of course, if you've got a microphone, we'd welcome you to talk about things, to talk about any topic you like, and be able to discuss these things. I heard you then, Ovi, really loud, but we got some audio. Then we've got a news and views section. So again, continuing the chat, but this time it gives us a chance to steer things around kind of Kubuntu in the news, things about our community, things like that we want to talk about. Then a new section, completely new, which is Kubuntu Ninja Quests, and tell you about that when we get to it. A second sponsor segment to cover our other sponsor. And then we decided that we'd run these long Kubuntu dojos in the past where we'd run Kubuntu dojos for about an hour or 2 hour slots where we'd go into detail in things. And actually that was proving a bit more difficult than we first thought. I know Simon was very interested in doing something with Dojo again and ramping that up and wanted to get involved in doing that. So we've created a slot for that where we can do a shorter amount of time but cover different topics. And today we've got a topic that I'm going to cover, but the rest of the others in the community will cover others in the future. Then we've got a second unconference slot where we can talk about things. Hopefully it'll generate some more ideas. These conversations will generate pointers from you, the audience. And this is really important. You in the community, this is your cafe, right? So, I can talk for 2 hours and fill the gap because I'm very chatty like that, but that's not the idea. The idea here is that we want you guys to talk. We want it to be a discussion forum. We want it to be an unconference. It can go in all kinds of directions, and we need your steer on that. Then we've got a community job spot. So I'm going to tell you more about that when we get there. But and then finally we won't just close and shut down. There'll be a cafe chat and you'll all be kind of relaxed, and then we'll close and wander off. And that should take us to about 2,300 hours. So I'm hoping to really sort of fill the whole 2 hours roughly like that. So hopefully with a little bit of luck, Ovi will be about shortly and he'll be able to...
I'm here.
He's here. Great. Okay. Let me go to the next slide. All right. So Kafe team updates. So this is, we used to do this in the podcast where we'd say, hey, what have you been up to since I saw you last? What's been going on in your life and my life, and a little bit of general chit chat. So tell me about this little dog, Ovi. He reminds me very much of the one you had before.
Yes, this is my dog. Her name is Ara. And she loves being petted a lot. And right now she's checking out your presentation.
Is she? She's a lovely looking dog. I got to tell you, mate. I love her face with her ears kicked forward. She's what sort of breed is she?
Fox Terrier, wire Fox Terrier.
Right.
She's checking out the keyboard right now. She's seen me. I've been working on some Docker containers previously, and I've been typing like hell. And she was looking, what's happening over there? And whenever I move my cursor across the screen, you see her watch? She's following the cursor right now, the mouse cursor.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Okay, she's gonna eat the cursor. I have to stop her.
So, well, now, of course, it's been months since I've seen you, and I know we've spoke once or twice very briefly on Telegram, but as you know, I've been very quiet, had lots and lots of family stuff going on, and I'll give you an update in a moment. But what's been going on with you, Ovi? What have you done? What have you been doing over the summer? What interesting things have you been working on?
So, I haven't really done many things on my free time. Well, first I want to give an update to what I've been working on. Right now, I've become a DevOps at work, and I'm maintaining servers. I'm making sure the development process is being kept and everything goes smoothly. I'm taking care of the continuous integration system. As I've said earlier on Telegram, right now I'm working with Windows slaves using Docker containers, which is pretty interesting, and I have to use PowerShell a lot. And I have to tell you, I don't know who invented PowerShell, but either they have no idea or they've never looked on how Linux command line works, or they're just trying to go out of their way to do something different. It's just, I don't know, it's just mind boggling how they came up with all of those things.
I think they're trying to go out of their way to do something different because that's been Microsoft's modus operandi. Um, you know,
Yeah.
look at so much of their stuff is like that. All the Active Directory stuff, which is basically a bunch of overlays and fudges over LDAP and Kerberos and a few other things, and it's all about trying to change things just enough to keep a lock on the market. So that's what's going on there. Call me cynical if you like, but I don't like
I
it.
don't want I don't want to dive more deeply into that. So besides work, what I've been doing. Oh, another thing related to, well, kind of related to work. There's an open source project called Conan. It's a package manager for C and C++.
Okay.
And I've been trying to get to start using that at work. It's MIT licensed, if I remember correctly, and it's basically completely written in Python, and you just have a Python script which describes your C++ project recipe.
All right. Pretty cool.
And I've done some contributions in my free time to that project, and it's really cool. I've been in touch with the community. Right now, we have uh, C++ packages, packaged binaries available for all major distributions, and distributions as in all major operating systems and major compilers. So, for example, if you want Boost precompiled for your development environment, you can just use the Conan package and it will download Boost precompiled. You just you just mention it in your local recipe that you need that library, and it will bring it already downloaded for your specific settings, already compiled for your specific settings. So it's really cool. I've been using that a lot lately. I'm still
Okay.
working on developing our development process using Conan. It's still a work in progress, but it sounds very promising.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is quite a
Besides
move
work,
from you then. So because you were doing when I last spoke to you, you were doing a lot of low-level development work, particularly on the assembler, I think.
yeah, that's what I've been doing. But I've been very uh, unsatisfied with the build system that we were using at work. That was just my personal feeling about it. Uh, and I wanted to improve it. So I did a little research and I've done some prototypes. And right now I'm taking care of the build system and the continuous integration and all that. All that comes with those. So basically, I'm doing DevOps.
Okay. Cool. Very good.
Okay. Besides work right now I'm actually struggling to finish buying a house. I finally found a house that well, I've found me and my wife we've found a house that we're happy with, and we're trying
Okay.
to buy it right now. Well, I'll come with more feedback when we're done, but this is taking a lot of time from us. I'm not going to show you my desk. It's full of papers here of contracts and documents from City Hall that I have to go through and read everything to see how do I solve everything with the bank, with the City Hall. With
Oh, but it's
luckily, the
all going to be
seller is
worthwhile.
also an
It'll all
IT,
be
is also a
worthwhile, Ovi.
programmer, so we get along fine. It's just the state that the government that we have to deal with.
Yeah, well, it's all going to be worthwhile, and I know you've been living in that apartment for quite a while, so it'd be great for you two guys to get out with your little dog and get a house. Oh, good luck with that. I hope that all goes
Uh,
smoothly for you,
Keep in
Ovi.
mind, we have two dogs. The other one, the big dog, is at my parents' house,
Oh, okay,
and I can't wait to go and finally live, have the dog live with me.
okay, and So, will this be a close by move? Because, of course, there are one or two people who are introducing themselves in the chat, and we've got quite a few new people here. So, I guess we ought to guess you ought to tell us whereabouts in the world you are, Ovi. Where are you calling in from?
So hello everybody. Sorry, I didn't say hello earlier. I'm from Arad, Romania, and I've been with Kubuntu for, I don't know, since at least 2011, if I'm not mistaken. That's when I think I first started using Kubuntu, switched to Kubuntu completely, and I've started contributing, I don't know, 2012, 2013, something like that.
Cool.
I think, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, something like that.
Very excellent. All right. So, well, I'll tell you I'll give you an update about where I've been up to. So, for those of you that are new, I'm Rick. I'm based, Rick Timmis. You can catch me on IRC and Telegram. You'll find me as Sick Rimit there. And so I've been using KDE for 17, 18 years now. Originally, I used to use KDE 3 on Red Hat 9 and also SUSE and SUSE Linux. That's when I kind of began the journey of moving into Linux and using that as a toolkit. I've been using KDE as my primary desktop since that time. I've been involved and using Kubuntu since about 2008, I think, something like that. I use it full time. I use it at work as well as my primary desktop. And so I've been getting slowly more and more involved with the Kubuntu project, doing just helping out wherever I can, really. But I tend to be quite time restricted. But I'm very passionate about Kubuntu, and I really wanted to contribute in some way. And in the recent council elections, myself and a few of the other people, we stood for election to the Kubuntu Council, and I was voted onto the council. So now I'm a member of the Kubuntu Council as well. So that's all about me. Now, as I said, I've been busy over the summer months since May. I had some really bad news in May to do with my family. That's one of the reasons why you haven't seen me. My stepfather passed away at the end of May, just before my birthday, and that left my mother and my sister all up in arms and so on and so forth. So it was a bit of a tough time, and I needed to really focus on family stuff at that time. I'm going to have another incident like that at some point in the future as well, with information that I have at the moment. So I've got some family issues that I'm having to deal with at the moment, but that's why I've been away. But certainly over the next few months or so, I'm hoping to be around a lot more, and I'm delighted to be back. I'm back in the driver's seat doing this and hanging out with you again, Ovi. It's cool, man.
Ara just brought me a toy. He wants to play.
Okay. Look at that.
Yeah, fox terriers love to play tug of war.
That's hilarious.
And if she grabs the rope right, I can just lift her up completely.
You might careful you don't pull her teeth out.
No, that's not the issue. The issue is if she doesn't grab it right, she'll drop.
Oh, okay.
So I have to make sure that she grabs it firmly, and then I can lift her. And after I lift her, she starts shaking all like crazy, trying to rip it apart.
So, now Aaron's not with us yet, but he may well join us in a little while. I don't know whether he's working today or...
He was online earlier and talking about joining, but I don't know where he's at right now.
Okay, so well, he may be along in a little while. So and hopefully he'll be able to give us an update. I'm going to let him do that because he's got lots of news, lots of interesting news. There's been a lot going on in Aaron's life over the summer months, which has been really good and really good to see. But okay, so that's the Kafe team, and that is where we're up to. And of course, I know you're all waiting for it. So here you go. Good stuff. All right. So, well, it would be remiss of me not to mention the wonderful guys at Big Blue Button. So, this conference suite that we're using here with the video conferencing and all the tools in them are all provided to us by Big Blue Button. Big Blue Button is an open source conferencing system. It's primarily designed for education. So the target is universities and schools and things like that. Fred Dixon, who is the project lead of the Big Blue Button open source project, kind of caught us in the early days, actually, when we decided to jump on one of his servers and hold an impromptu one of these things in the test demo server. We just started doing it. Well, it was a Kubuntu party, actually, and we were running into difficulties with Google Plus. And the Google Hangouts thing, we weren't able to scale it very well. So we decided to look around and we found Big Blue Button. So we went and hanged out in one of their test servers. Of course, we must have been creating quite a lot of server loads. So Fred came along and went, what's going on the server, and logged in and got chatting in a party like this. And we were all talking about what we were doing and the Kubuntu project and this, that, and the other. And bless him, there and then, he built this for us. Within just a few minutes, went, here you go, guys. We love open source. Kubuntu rocks. We think it's fantastic. You guys can have a Big Blue Button server to hold your meetings in. So big thumbs up to Big Blue Button. Those guys are absolutely awesome. Good stuff. You knows it.
I also love their new interface. I think this is HTML5 based. It's not Java based anymore, right?
I think so, yeah. They've been swapping out a whole bunch of components. It's still using some Flash, but a lot
Flash,
of the
okay.
Flash is still there. But for example, all the audio bridge that we're speaking on, that's all been moved from, it was originally some SIP-based protocol. It's been moved to WebRTC. So it's using WebRTC audio. I think the Flash components are the presentation layer. That's still Flash. And the video camera is still Flash, but some of the other pieces have been changed and replaced. So I know the project's vision going forward, Big Blue Button's vision, is to replace the whole interface with a responsive HTML5 interface that works on desktop and on mobile as well.
I haven't tried it on mobile.
I don't think, I mean, in the very early days, we tried this demo interface on mobile, and it kind of didn't work very well at all. You know, whether where it is or not, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll have to see. Okay, anyway, right, so that's the guys at Big Blue Button. Go and check them out at bigbluebutton.org and make sure you tell them that you are hanging out with us, and that's where you got the information. Okay, so it's Unconference time. So I pulled this slide because I thought everybody's going to go, Unconference, what on earth is an Unconference? Well, basically, it's kind of this. It's whatever you guys want it to be, really. It's just some time for some open conversation. We've got about 20 minutes or so to talk about different things. I'm going to pick some topics straight out the chat already. Whoops, daisy. No, I'm not. I'm going to press the wrong button and go a slide ahead.
So right now the conversation in the chat is about Firefox and Flash with Kubezilla, Falcon, and someone said that Neon has a snap, I'm guessing with Falcon or something like that.
Yes, that's right. So I was reading about Falcon, and
so browser wars.
Browser wars, yeah. But Falcon seems to be getting some really good reviews for speed, and
I haven't used it, haven't seen it. I don't know what it is.
Well, I've used Kubezilla, which is the same thing.
Firefox, I'm guessing.
No, I don't think it is. Kubezilla is like a Qt-based browser that uses the Qt WebKit engine, something like that. Think so. And Kubezilla has basically been rebranded and rebuilt to become Falcon, which I think is a really great name for a browser. So let's have a look what we got here. John and yes, I saw that in the news that Neon had got a snap for that, and Yeah, Marco says it's much faster to load on KDE than Firefox. Okay, is it in? I should have a look and let's. Here's an opportunity to try something out. Let me just see whether I can. I'm just looking at my CPU first of all to see whether I've got enough juice to actually run Discover. But I wonder if it's in the software center. Building in our it's building in our CI, but it's not been tried yet. So it might be there. Probably going to steal all my CPU power now, which is I have been looking at some new machines recently. Let's just try and see whether it's in the Discovery Center. Searching. Still looking, it says.
I can't select text in the chat. Can you guys?
I think you can select one line.
No, I can't. Okay. I tried to copy paste the name of Falcon. Okay, right clicking doesn't do it.
Yeah, I think I've got it. I think I was able to capture that. Just try that now and see.
I'm able to click on links, but yeah, copy paste doesn't work well. Maybe because of the flash.
Okay, yeah, no, okay. So if I use Control C, no, if I highlight the text and do Control C, and then I've just pasted some text into Kate. So I can definitely copy and paste, but I'm having to use the Control C, Control V to do it. Not sure that I'm getting the links working now.
Can you paste links inside the chat? I remember that didn't work.
Oh no, the links have worked, and it's yeah. So the link has worked. I'm using Chrome at the moment, the same as Valerie, because yesterday we were talking. The Kubuntu Council had a kind of directional meeting about promotion and stuff. More on that later, and so Valerie told me that she was using Chrome, which is what incited me to go and load the 64-bit version of Artful Aardvark on this machine, because I only got a 32-bit build and there is no 32-bit build of Chrome. So I've been building a machine to do that today as well. And this works well, actually. In here, the links open in a new window. It's good. Yeah, okay, so... Is that you, Ovi? Is it your dog?
No, it's the dog. she wants to play, and if I'm not playing, she just growls at me.
Okay. Right, so, well, not found anything in the software center yet, but that doesn't mean it won't turn up. Looks like there are some issues with it on Launchpad looking at this.
Well, it works weird in Firefox. It just crashed on me when I tried to right-click on a text, on a line in the chat.
Yeah, I was having that with Firefox as well. It seems to behave itself much better with Chrome.
Yeah, I tried switching to Chrome at work, but at home I'm still with Firefox. I'm using tab groups because I'm working on many tasks at the same time. So regarding tab groups, why am I using tab groups? I'm a multilateral person. I'm hoping that's the right word in English. Mm-hmm. I like to do a lot of different things. So I've decided, let's split the week just like a normal school week. Today, Monday, I'm going to do multimedia, whatever that involves. Tuesday, I'm going to do electronics. Wednesday, I'm going to do programming, usually involves the new language what I'm trying to work on. I'm learning Golang right now, or do some contributions to Conan or Kubuntu or whatever. Thursday, I'm going to do I forgot. Yeah, Thursday I'm gonna learn biology. I'm enrolled in a biology course from MIT on Coursera. No, on edX. Friday I'm gonna do Docker. That means working on the following meetup, seeing what's new, contributing to Docker images or whatever. Saturday, the whole day, I'm gonna do woodworking. Actually, I've prepared my shop upstairs, and I would really like to take some pictures sometime and show you guys how it is. It's small, but it's something where I can chop a piece of wood.
Okay.
And on Sunday, I'm just gonna rest and maybe catch up on some reading or TV shows or whatever. So basically, that's my plan. So you found it.
I found it. So I need your address again. What I've done is I've taken the handle off, and I've the saw blade. The saw blade is covered in grease, so it won't go rusty. And I put it in a little plastic bag. But you can see here, it'll go together really easy again. But there it is, the saw blade, all nicely. So make sure it doesn't go rusty. You see. I'd put it away in such a safe place that it took me nearly 9 months to find it again. But I found it, and I thought, right, I'm going to put that in my room, and the next time I talk to Ovi, I'll get him to send me his address over again, or where you want it shipped to in the UK. And I've got a nice little box for it, all packaged up, so it's ready.
So meanwhile, while I was waiting for you to ship me that saw, which took about how much time?
About a year.
Yeah, so meanwhile, I bought this. This is a set. So I've decided I won't wait for you anymore.
Okay.
This is a set of professional Japanese saws.
Oh, okay.
So this is the hardback, which is basically the same as what you have right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is a Dozuki saw. This is a Ryoba saw, which basically has two edges, one for cross-cutting and one for rib cutting.
Okay.
And this is a Kataba saw. This is for green wood, which is not dried yet. And
so what you're saying to me is thicker. I can put that tenon saw back together and put it in my woodworking kit.
And also I have in the set one flush cut saw. I'm not going to take it out of the packaging. So basically these teeth are very, very fine. You can, I tried actually, and I think I can shave with it, but it's still a saw, so it won't be very efficient.
Okay.
I can try to get it out, but it's safer to keep it here until I actually use it. And these saws, they all have plastic protection, but it fell off when I pulled them out of the box. And I think I just cut myself again in them. Yep.
Oh,
so
wow.
They're very sharp. They're crazy sharp.
Charles Wright says, Charles Wright's very impressed. He says, nice blades. And apparently he does woodwork too. What kind of things do you make, Charles? You can type that in the chat if you like, and I'll relay that. But that's really well. You sound like you've got a massive program of events. Do any of these events involve, like taking your wife to dinner or doing anything like that, or does she quite happy for you to just be hacking and soldering and chopping and storming?
These events that I'm doing weekly, they're just about 1 or 2 hours per evening. So I'm not going to, as soon as I get home, start working on that and don't do anything else for the rest of the day. It's just exactly like school. I have 1 hour reserved to do exactly that. I have to do, and I'm forcing myself. That 1 hour, I'm working solely on that. Nothing else, no distractions. After that hour is over, if there's nothing else to be done in the house or I have nothing else scheduled, then if I want to, I can continue and do extra work on that project. But otherwise, I would stop and then just go hang out with the family or do something else. But I have 1 hour when I get home from, not necessarily immediately when I get home from work, but in the evening, I need to find some time to get to 1 hour for working on that project.
Okay, I'm with you.
And that's what I found. It works pretty good. But since this thing with the house is happening, most of my afternoons are swamped with research for the house and learning about credits and learning about how house renovations and the plumbing and uh, uh, heating the house and all of that. And we're trying to do some. We have some plans to do some renovations on the house. It's a whole story, and I'd rather not fill the Kubuntu Cafe with that.
Yeah, okay. So, well, Charles says, Charles is telling us he works in a factory, he says, making drawer parts, and he also chops wood at home for heat. Well, that sounds like a pretty smart idea. One assumes
Oh,
that
where are you from?
Yeah, that's a good point. Whereabouts are you in the world, Charles? Do you know, years ago, I shared a workshop. I used to work on I used to build race car engines, and I shared a workshop with a guy who was a cabinet maker, which I'm sure you'll know what that is, Charles. But this guy used to make custom chests of drawers out of either pine or oak, and he'd sell them to clients in London, and they paid thousands of pounds for these they were handmade, like chests of drawers with, like, I don't know, I think he made one in the workshop which was 12 drawers, some big drawers, some medium sized ones, and some small ones in the top, and each drawer had like a number on the back of it because each one would go in a specific location, because of course it was, the way it was made, it wasn't like machined up on a CNC machine or anything. These things were all done with hand tools. He was an incredible carpenter, very impressive. So North Carolina in the USA, and I'm busy working away. So how long have you been in and around Kubuntu then, Charles? Since 2009, yeah, years.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really, it's great when you get long-term users, that have been using it for a long time. You'll have seen the evolution, and I mean, 2009, you'll probably remember the KDE 3 to 4 transition when it all moved to SVG and all the other stuff. And those big transitions, like the recent one from Plasma, from KDE 4 to Plasma 5, there's a lot of porting of the applications that goes on, and this kind of, it kind of like creates this, not everything's working in KDE, and then it starts to settle in and things get working again. And I think we're over that hurdle now. And I've been really impressed with what I've seen today using Artful Aardvark, the production release. So great job to the dev team. Been putting that together really well.
Can I add one more item to our woodworking parentheses?
Of course, yes.
So this is the stand I've built for the saws. It's a slightly bigger base.
Okay.
You can see some nice wood grain over there.
Oh, hang on a moment. Let me just make that a bit. I'm just going to make the webcams a bit bigger.
Sorry for the lighting. My lighting is not the best.
Oh yeah, you've picked up the grain on that face really nicely, haven't you?
And the bottom is also pretty, but you don't actually see it. The tenon in here is I'm missing the term right now. V-shaped. It's not the sides are not parallel. They're V-shaped, so it's jammed in here. Also on the top, they have some grooves in here, so the saws stay in there and they can't fall out because they're oriented inwards.
What did you use to make the grooves? Have you just done that with a hand chisel?
Yeah,
just hand chisels. Okay.
And all of this is made out of pallet wood, including this awesome looking grain.
Whoa, that grain came from the pallet wood.
Yeah. If you look here on this edge, for example, if you sorry, let me turn it there. You see the spots?
Yes.
I have no idea what this wood is, but I like it a lot. It's from the same pallet. I think I still have some boards from it. It's pretty good. I like the color. There's no wood finish on it. It's just plain wood. There's no finish on it. If I would put some finish on it, probably it would look better. It's not glued, so it's just attached. I can still detach it. So this was my first prototype with those saws. I still wanted to do some weird angles here so it looks prettier. And I also messed up what's the word? I forgot. So the tenon is the part that goes in, and the hole is called a miter, I think.
Okay.
I'm not, but I messed it up over here. Anyway.
No, tenon and mortar, I think it's called.
Mortise. Yeah, mortise.
And Charles
And
says pallet stock is usually oak, and that probably does look like oak, actually. Ovi, the grain on it looks like it might be oak. Not that I'm a woodworker, but
the vertical one looks like oak, but the base not really. It's too colored to be oak.
Well, it's very nice. Anyway, you've done a really good job. Roughly how many hours work did that take you to put that together then?
1, maybe 2. So it's a very simple project. Actually, this thing has this shape because this is the way the pallet board broke when I tried to disassemble it. So this edge here wasn't intended to be like this. It just broke that way. And I just cut it straight and used my hand plane to clean the edges a little bit.
Well, don't they say in woodworking you have to kind of let the material take the lead a little bit? You have to let the material steer you.
Rockwell has posted something on Instagram lately and said woodworking is 1/3 planning, 1/3 working, 1/3 covering your mistakes to make it look good.
Very good. Oh, that's first class. So, Charles says sounds correct. Right, there we go. We have it from the professional. The guy that works in the factory says that's how you do it. So there you go. You're doing it right.
Yeah. Charles, 2 woodworking questions for you. Hand tools or power tools?
I'll give an answer.
Hand tools or power tools? Both. Nice.
Both. Yeah, fair enough.
Western or Japanese?
Oh, come on.
I'm going into details here.
Hey, so do you use Kubuntu or any of the 3D CAD or software like that for your woodworking, or do you just do it all on paper nothing to do with the computer?
Who are you asking?
You, Ovi.
I'm using. Actually, first, as an initial plan, this is a sketchbook that I've made where I'm holding all my sketches before I actually make them. Well, I just try out some ideas. And when I've decided on what exactly I want to, for example, this nightstand. This is the plan that Laura asked me for. She gave me the plan and I just drew some ideas here. And after this, for example, my workbench, which I'm trying to build, I'm drawing out some sketches here to decide on some sizes, and then I do it in SketchUp. And SketchUp, I have it running with Wine on Kubuntu.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Very good.
So I start with the paper, and then I go with SketchUp, and then I print or screenshot all the sizes, all the information I get from SketchUp.
Okay.
Because from SketchUp I can actually simulate building it, and I'm gonna have all my board sizes and everything that I want to build. I'm gonna face all the challenges. Well, not all, but most of the challenges. I'm gonna face them in SketchUp, and I can simulate what I'm gonna bump into. And then when I get to actually working, half of the problems are already solved.
Okay. All right. Very good. So, well, Charles says that he doesn't really do much on that. I think his Kubuntu installs are for home rather than work. However, he is using dovetail machines, and they're CNC controlled, which one assumes that you're doing that for A, speed, and B, repeatability, because dovetailing, hand making dovetails is pretty hard work. All right, so let me well, do you know that was pretty I wasn't expecting in Unconference slot 1 to be talking about CNC dovetail machines and making woodwork out of pallets and things like that. Didn't expect that one. Fair enough. But do you know what? It's all good stuff. Okay, so next up, news and views. Now, news and views is a bit empty. I did see some news items, but I didn't really get them together. So I kind of need you guys in the audience to point me at some stuff that you think we ought to share or we ought to know about. I can start with something while you kind of see what you think about, and I can tell you that we've been doing some work on the website recently. We added a new about page, and we added the Kubuntu calendar. So we installed a calendar function on there, which you can find on the website. It's got all of these events in it, as well as other things that are going on.
There's no link to it.
There is, there is on. Now you've got me. Now I've got to go and have a look at it.
If I go to kubuntu.org, which I did earlier today.
On the community page, I think.
Yeah, and if I open kubuntu.org, there's community page only in the footer. So we should update the contribute or something in the navigation bar on top to put there the community page.
Yeah, okay, that's a good idea. So well, yeah, let me see. I wonder whether I can well, if you maybe the people that are there want to go and have a look at kubuntu.org, you can see some of the new things that have gone on. But Ovi's quite right. It is a bit hard to find the calendar at the moment because you have to go to the community page, and then there is a link to the calendar on the community page. So you're not going to obviously find that if you didn't. And we could probably do with putting some news up about these kinds of things on the website and making it a bit more obvious, as well as you rightly say, Ovi, making some adjustments to the navigation so that it becomes a bit clearer where these things are.
We should probably combine community with contribute or somehow support and about. They should be, I don't know, about shouldn't exist in my opinion. We can have it in the
only got put on yesterday.
Yeah. I see that it's been updated, but I'm trying to figure out to compare with what other Linux distributions have in their main navigation menu. And main is something like the blog with news, download, maybe some presentation, maybe, but usually the feature tour is on the home page, so you don't have to have another button for it. And then there's get involved and which also has some community information, get involved and get help or something like that. So instead of 6 menus, maybe have 4 with more compact information.
I definitely think the about page should stay. And the reason why I say that is because I've just gone and looked at the about page and I'm on it. My picture's on it. So we definitely can't take that down.
But we should fix the last names.
It's me and Valerie. Hooray!
Someone talked that we should fix something.
We should fix the last names.
Oh yeah, Simon hates that his last name is in all caps.
Okay, well, I'm sure we can fix that.
Yeah, we've had plenty of conversations on that topic.
There's another. Have you been on the Kubuntu Council yet, Ovi?
What do you mean?
Have you been a Kubuntu councillor?
Yes, you took my place.
Oh. Sorry. Right. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, Simon, you're quite right. It's all in caps. Oh, and Jonathan. Oh, well, hang on a minute.
So the idea
They're
was
all in
that to put.
caps.
I know they're all in caps. I made it like that, and the idea was to emphasize which names are the last names. And from what I've heard from some people, I don't know if this is actually true or not. It's some kind of European uh, agreement or habit or something that you put the last name in caps so that it's more obvious.
I think it's the only place which I've at least seen it done. It's I don't think it's done in the UK, the US, Australia. I don't think any in a lot of places it's done like that, which is why it sort of bugs me because that's the only place I've seen. In every single place I've seen first and last names where the last names are capitalized.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you know, I don't feel too strongly about it myself. I don't mind either way, actually.
I'd rather it stays as it is.
It looks quite nice. Anyway, it looks very nicely balanced on the page. So there's an about page, and I'm on it, and Valerie. And then you can click to the team to see some of the other people who aren't as important. I am joking, of course. You know that, don't you? So that was that. Also, on the homepage, we've introduced a video, and this YouTube video was put together by somebody called Lucas, and it's a really good intro. If you get a moment, watch it, and if you can, go and make a comment or give it a thumbs up on YouTube, or better still, share it with some of your social media links, etc.
Yeah, especially with your Windows users, friends.
Yeah, definitely. We've got some more work to do, and we are drawing together some plans for to do updates and do work on the website. And there was a lot of talk in the Kubuntu Councilors meeting yesterday about some of the things that we wanted to do there. So we'll definitely have more on that in the future. Now, in the chat window, there's been some discussion about plasma. Charles said plasma volts. Do you know anything? Do you know what plasma volts is, Ovi?
Yeah, I know. It's a project from KDE that allows you to have encrypted folders. You can have a specific folder which you encrypt it, and you can't access it without a password. So you need a password for each folder, which is an excellent idea. I've tried using it to hide some documents, especially on my work computer if I'm trying to store private things or something like that, or even very sensitive documents. Whatever your scenario, you might have the necessity to have a folder which you need to make sure that only you can access, and that folder you only open with a password, and as long as it's open you can use it. When you close it, it's locked again and nobody can open it in case you let people use your computer. So that's what Plasma Vault is. I'm not exactly sure how what's the current state and how do we have it in Kubuntu.
Okay.
Hi, Aaron.
Hey, Aaron's here.
So I kind of forgot about it. I was busy fixing my apartment door.
Yeah, cool, no problem. Sup, dude? You're looking cool, man. How are you? Look at that, System 76 and a massive smile on his face.
The door is very important to your apartment.
Cool. Okay. So, let's take a little bit of a digression now that Aaron's here, because of course, I haven't spoken to Aaron directly for quite a while, really. And you've moved around, and you're doing different things, and you've got a new job and a new apartment. So, come on, dude, tell us what you've been up to.
Lots and lots of documentation stuff that would support and awesome stuff, and a release of a new operating system.
Yeah, okay. Is it called Pop OS or something?
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
cool,
called
cool.
pop !_OS.
Oh, all right, okay.
That was to follow our branding and our logo and everything on their websites. It's on all of our stuff.
So you don't say pop !_OS every time, right?
We just say Pop OS. I have it copied and pasted, so when I need to paste it, rather than write it down like that.
Yeah, fantastic. So obviously moved from. Oh, what beer you got there, my friend?
Not Your Father's Mountain Ale.
Oh wow, that sounds pretty good.
It's kind of like an alcoholic Mountain Dew.
Yeah, okay. So
Valerie says that Aaron sounds kind of muffled. I'm thinking it's because of the beer.
It's probably because I'm outside and I'm using the webcam and microphone into my lemur.
Yeah, we hear people talking around you.
Yeah, my neighbors are hanging outside.
yeah, oh cool, very good. So we were just talking through some talking through some news items and some bits and pieces. I've been putting some slides together on this. So are you on your laptop at the moment, Aaron, or are you on a mobile?
I'm on my lemur, System 76 lemur right now.
On
Okay.
Kubuntu or Popos?
Pop OS.
I don't know. I want to find out exactly when it's going to have their door open because that'll be like.
Cool, very
It's a
good.
work laptop, so if I need to answer a question about Pop, it's better to be on Pop for me.
Yeah, I have a question about Pop, and please don't get upset.
It's going to be why we didn't go KDE.
No, it's gonna be why Pop?
Why am I using Pop?
No. What's the reason behind this distribution? Or
It's considered a good distribution. It's because Ubuntu Canonical stopped development for Unity. So System 76 has been doing desktop for like 12 years now.
So first he said if it was him.
So it just made sense. It's a very lean distribution though, like no solitary and all the stuff that you don't need usually.
then why didn't they go with a different Ubuntu flavor, or even the normal Ubuntu, since they switched to GNOME Shell?
There's too many changes underneath for it to change it like that, or use a PPA. People have asked about using PPA. There's too much changes underneath because it's a start from a Ubuntu minimum image, not a Ubuntu desktop, and we've added everything on top of it. Shell extensions to make a desktop experience better, theme to be very pleasing, clean, and fast.
Yeah, okay. There's quite your mic's quite omnidirectional actually, Aaron. So we could hear what you were saying, but there's quite a lot of background noise that was coming through as well and picking up, and it's putting quite a lot of audio through. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you maybe just need to control it like that with a little bit of mute off and on and back and forth. But anyway, it's great to see you back here, and I've got a big smile on my face now because I've got my my two buddies that help me with this kind of stuff. And by the way, whilst I was off, I was explaining earlier on, Aaron, why, and when you look at the show recording, you'll see where I was at with that and why I've not been around for a few months. But I know you did a couple of shows and did some stuff without me, and which was great, and I was really pleased to see you guys do that. So that was really good. Okay, right. So, well, this news and views section, I hope to have that populated with a bit more stuff next time, so that basically there'll be some news items put in there. But we're going to need some help to do that, and I'll come to that in a little while. But before I do that, I've got a surprise for you. So, let me tell you in the cafe, if I may, about Ninja Quests. So this is a new initiative, and what we've done is we were talking in the Kubuntu Council about how we reach out to you guys in the community so that we can get you engaged and working with the Kubuntu community and being able to contribute to Kubuntu in different ways. Now, we, the council, are putting together a plan at the moment that addresses a number of things, primarily the future growth and the development of Kubuntu. So how do we grow it? How do we reach out to news networks, to press, to PR? How do we raise awareness? How do we get more organized and more structured? How do we get all the disparate information and bits of components that we've got and bring them all together? I've picked up on the work that Ovi had been doing when he was on the council to try to assemble a Kubuntu vision, and I'm trying to revitalize that document and start adding some more stuff to it. And we held one of the first Kubuntu council meetings that we held a meeting around that very vision document, looking at it again and saying, how do we extrapolate some actions out of this and put some more momentum back into it? One of the initiatives that we come up with was this idea of ninja quests. So basically it works like this. We want people in the community to just pick up single entity jobs, something that somebody can take away that they're interested in and go and do the work on it and bring back the results, bring back the information. Now, I'll explain these numbers in a moment because I've got another section that will cover this. But basically, I've got 3 quests to start with here, and we will aggregate more. And I'm going to show you the place where we will aggregate these quests as well, and then we'll pick from them and bring them into future Kafe meetings. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for willing volunteers rather than having to elect people. So that's what we're after, willing volunteers. I'll tell you about what the tasks are first of all. So T7399, research and identify current Kubuntu users in the following sectors. So enterprise and businesses, education, schools and universities, and government. What we're looking for is we want to try to find people who are currently using Kubuntu for school use, or Rick Mills posted something on Telegram a few weeks ago where he'd come across a university that had got about 30 laptops and they were doing open source awareness, and they'd got Kubuntu, probably 1704, I think, Kubuntu 1704 installed on all of these 30 laptops, and they were using them to do an introduction to open source and getting people to use Kubuntu. So what we're trying to do is we want somebody to go away, identify some organizations, businesses, anywhere on the planet, doesn't matter, education, schools, universities, and governments, where they're using Kubuntu, and try to identify a point of contact there, maybe a website or something like that, somebody that we can get in touch with to ask them whether they would give us a case study about their use of Kubuntu. Now, this research that the person undertakes and brings this all back as a Google document or something like that to share with us in the council, this research is going to form the foundation for the basis of a number of press articles that we're going to release out to the various press news sites and news stories, and use them as case studies on our website to encourage uptake. So we're looking for a willing volunteer to pick on that job. The next one is slightly more challenging, but I'm hoping that there are people in the community already that might know the answers to some of this and are willing to draw this together in aggregate. And this is job 2, or Ninja Quest 27401. The idea here is we need to identify all of our social media accounts that are out there for Kubuntu. We know we've got them on Facebook and some bits on Twitter, and there's certainly more than one on Google+. And what we want to try to do is to identify that in a document as a list of accounts and who owns them, who's the point of contact on them, so that we can the reason for this is that we're looking at tools and looking at ways as a council to try to aggregate these things together so that we can make sure that when we're putting some news out or putting a message out or sharing information about a release, or we're looking for testers, that we can make sure that we communicate that across all of these channels. And of course, we can't do that if we haven't identified all of the channels. And the last one, this is a little bit more team orientated. So T7407. This is a slightly longer term task. It's going to involve a little bit more commitment in the community, probably a little bit more closer working with the team and the council. What the idea is to put together a regular newsletter, like an emailable newsletter. So not the mailing list. This is a newsletter like the kind of thing that Canonical do, that people will be able to subscribe to. So they could perhaps subscribe to it on our website, and it would be a designed newsletter. So it would carry Kubuntu's branding and be designed, and it would carry current news and well-written articles. That would be then emailed out. Now, this challenge is a little bit more involved, because the person that picks this challenge up is going to be responsible for coordinating the working group. So what you'll be looking to do is to recruit other people to assist you. So you'll be looking at wanting to identify at least 2 people that will write articles, conduct journalism and pull together stories that can go in this newsletter. You'll also be looking for somebody to work on the design. So you might need to get in touch with somebody from the KDE visual design group or something like that. Find somebody who's got some HTML and CSS skills and some design skills to put you together the templates and to design the email newsletter. And then you'll be wanting some people to administer that, actually maintain the contact list, use the tools. And we gave some advice in the meeting yesterday at some tools we can look at for sending this kind of newsletter out. And I'm going to look into that and do the research to get the engine behind this. And ultimately this person would be responsible for coordinating with that team. So if any of those things sound like they appeal to you, and you think to yourself, do you know what, yeah, I'd like to spare an hour or a couple of hours a week just doing that, it's a little job that I could take on, then it'd be great for you to pick that up and to be able to do some work on that. So those are 3 quests there. We're going to extend the reach of that. And if it's successful and it takes off and people take these work up, then we'll make a little bit of a game out of it. Maybe bring together some kind of reward system or something like that. I don't know. But we'll certainly
I've got an idea.
Yes, go ahead.
Let me see. If Charles is here, he's idle. He said he has a CNC. I don't have a CNC. Maybe if he wants to, he can make a Kubuntu logo on the CNC.
Oh, okay. He might be able to, for sure. And I know we've had some stuff done on 3D printers in the past and stuff like that. So I'm sure we can do some stuff. Aside the fact that, once you start contributing to this project, it becomes a lot of fun. Once you start and you build a lot of friends all around the world, and you get to know more people, and it becomes quite a lot of fun. And it can feel very rewarding when just doing something small. And when it's successful, it can feel very rewarding. Okay. Is he?
It's midnight here. So.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought your dog had just eaten your dinner.
No, she was playing with my hand till now, and I just pulled my hand away, and she's upset now.
All right, so let me tell you about. What's this says? Jeannie says, this reminds me now. I should have applied to Kubuntu members like 10 years ago. Yeah, you definitely should, Jeannie. The Jeannie's just posting in Telegram. You should definitely become a Kubuntu member. It's not difficult to do, and certainly we all know you because we've seen you in IRC and we've seen you about the community for a while. So why delay? Do it now.
Rick,
do it today.
Can you go back to the previous slide?
Yes, mate. Yeah, of course. 1 second. Here we go.
Regarding T7399.
Yes.
You said that they would do some interview process or something. What's the phrasing you used?
Oh, it's a case study.
A case study. Okay. How would that go about?
All right. So
for example, I have a school which I've migrated to Kubuntu. And they're using Kubuntu right now, but because our government is beep, they have to switch back to Windows.
Okay. Yes. So, well, the way I see it working is that generally speaking, you would so let's say you were doing this, you'd identify the school, you might speak to your contact at the school and say, let's say he's called Sally, Salvador. So you say, hi, Salvador. The Kubuntu community that developed the Kubuntu operating system, we'd like to do a case study about your school. Would it be okay if one of the Kubuntu team contacts you? Or if you wanted to be even more forthright, so if you were a bit more of a forward-facing person, you could say, could you tell me about your use of Kubuntu? How long have you been using it for? What do you use it for? Is it on the desktop? Is it on the server? How have you got it deployed? And you could actually draw a case study out of it. Has it been good for you? What do you think the benefits are? Were there any downsides? You could ask questions like that.
I think we would need some kind of form, or at least an agenda for people who would like to do this, so they would know, okay, what kind of information are we interested in?
Yeah. So initially, I think the important thing is that we get. 1 second. Let me just say night to Marco. The important thing is to identify the organization and a contact within it. From there, once we've got that list of, and you need to have some kind of connection with them. You need to know for sure that they're still using it, and are they using a current version? But then from there, we can then get in touch with them. We can email them, we can contact them. And of course, we can also put together some questions, and we'll develop the questions. We haven't got them yet, but that may well be another quest. In fact, that ought to be a quest. Let me write that on my piece of paper now. And I'll put that one up for next time. So developing a questionnaire for case studies. Does that make it a little bit clearer, Ovi?
Yeah. The problem I'm facing right now, or at least in many schools in Romania, if they use Linux, they have no idea they are using Linux.
Sure.
Or maybe they don't even know. Okay, they're just using the computer. They have no idea if it's Linux, Windows, or whatever. It's irrelevant to them. They just want to open the browser or the Office suite and do their stuff. They don't really know that they're using Linux. Or if they know they're using Linux, they didn't really have a choice as per se. They didn't choose specifically to use Linux. The IT guy just, hey, yeah, I'm going to put Linux on these because we don't have any Windows licenses or something. And they put Linux on it, and yeah, they don't know anything more about it. And that IT guy probably isn't even necessarily employed by the school or something. It's just someone's relative that maintains the computers at that school.
Got you. Okay.
So, for example, in my specific case with this school, I'm not sure exactly how useful information from that school would be.
Okay. Well, I mean, we only know. We can only know by asking. We can only know by finding out. But my hope is that somebody will pick up that job and run with it. Now, while we do that, I'm just gonna let me move forward into the, because I'm going to take you to the next bit in a moment. I'm just going to log in, which will make this even make more sense. Okay, no problem. But before we do that, it would be remiss of me not to tell you about some more good stuff, because I don't know. Well, some of you will know, but we have the KCI, Kubuntu Continuous Integration System. So there's a bunch of machines and servers out there that do the various builds and package builds and test builds and all that kind of stuff that regularly build all the software from upstream, aggregate it with the Debian packaging tree, and then package it all up, make the amendments for the change logs, etc. for Ubuntu, package them up and push it up to Launchpad and drive that forward. And a lot of the machines that we use are hosted for us by the guys in York up in here. Well, in York is in Yorkshire in the UK, and Bytemark are a hosting company, and they've provided for us a dedicated machine to us that sits in their rack in their data center. And I know it's something that the development team use all the time for doing all the builds. So it'd be totally remiss of me not to say, go and check them out, bytemark.co.uk. They do great hosting deals. There are some links on our website as well, which will link you to some discount deals and stuff like that. And also, if you use those links on our website to go to Bytemark will know that you came from Kubuntu to go and have a look at their stuff, which is really important. Hosting and data center servers are expensive, and we're very fortunate that Bytemark provide that ongoing to us completely free of charge, with no, there's no strings, no obligations. That's just their way of supporting us in the open source community. So they're really good. Oh, and Rick has very kindly provided a link, which if you want to click on, you can actually go and look and see the KCI system running, doing its builds. I'm just going to open that link myself and just go and have a look, but you can see it there, and you can see all the kind of stuff that it builds and all of the jobs. Feel free to poke around, and without a login you can't do any harm there, so feel free to go and have a look at the logs and look at the output. You can see that there's a whole bunch of machines there that are all, when they're busy, there's like, I'm just looking down the list here now, but on master 1 there's 120. There's the Linode machine, which has got, I think they must be containers or virtualizations, but you can see it all there. It's fun to go and have a play around with it and see all of that automation, and it's also pretty cool, actually, I have to say. Yeah, Rick says it's quiet at the moment. Well, of course, it wasn't last week. It was really busy in the run up to getting the release out. I bet those machines have been, been kept really, really busy. Okay, brilliant, good stuff. Right, let me move on to the next slide. All right, so Kubuntu Dojo. So I'm going to run this one this time to just give you a flavor for it, but I'm really hoping that other members of the community, other people in Kubuntu community will kind of be willing to put some bits and pieces together. I'd really like to see something from you perhaps at some point, Aaron, on the documentation and how that's managed on GitHub. Maybe a little bit on Sphinx and where that is, because I'm really keen to get some more assistance with Kubuntu documentation. The work that you've done in the past is excellent, and we have really good documentation as a result of that work. I know I'd done a little bit in the past and got sidetracked, but it'd be great if we could do a 10 minutes or something like that, perhaps on a future show, and just show us how to go about getting involved in adding to the documentation, maybe putting some pull requests into stuff like that.
It has a README on the GitHub if you want to how to send in pull requests and stuff.
Okay, all right. So
copy that from the Ubuntu documentation that Simon was doing.
Okay. All right. Well, I haven't been up there and had a look for a little while, so we could make a little link to that, and I'll put it in a note, and we'll do it then. John says he's going to call it a night. Okay. Cheerio, John. Nice to see you. Thanks for dropping by.
Bye,
right.
John.
Okay. So what I wanted to show you and tell you about was Fabricator. So what we've been doing in Kubuntu is been working to try to centralize everything around a central area of working. We had lots of different tools in the past with bits of stuff all over the place, and we really need to try to aggregate things together and bring it into one place where it's easier for people and easier for new people in the community to kind of get a hold on doing things. So one of the tools that we've been using is KDE's implementation of Fabricator. So now, for those of you who've not come across Fabricator before, basically it is a fairly sophisticated collaborative project management version control system with workboards and wikis and all kinds of tools that you would want and need if you were operating as a disparate group of software developers, like KDE is. And so it seems to be a really good fit for us. This screenshot that you can see here is our Fabricator workboard, which is very similar to Trello, if you've seen that. And what I'm going to try and do now is I'm going to try and log into this, and I'm going to see if I can do that at the same time as sharing my screen with you now. No guarantees that this won't go wrong, but we'll try. I need to do, first of all, pull this into a separate window and go home. Hopefully this will work. With a bit of luck. Ooh. Here we are. Locate the screen. Start. It says keep. Click to open. Let's see. It's trying. Oh no, it's opened it in Kate. Right. Not going to work then. Okay, well, in which case then I'm not going to be able to share the screen with you at this time. However, let me put you a link in here and then you'll be able to go and have a look yourself and I will explain it to you. It's dead straightforward. I'll put you one link in here. So that's the first one, fabricator.kde.org. So if you want to get involved in the Ninja Quests that I was talking about earlier on and some of the other jobs that we're going to be able to have in the community, then this is where you want to go, fabricator.kde.org, and you want to register for an account there. So you want to sign up and register to that. That'll give you a username and a password and let you set up a profile and some other bits and pieces. And then you'll need to search for the Kubuntu project. Now, once you find that project, you need to join it. I'll give you a link here. Oh, the only wrinkle is you must have a KDE identity. Right, okay. So I've got a KDE identity as well, right? So we need to go to identity.kde.org. Thank you for that, Valerie. And then I'll put the final link in here, which is takes you to the workboard that I was showing on the screen there. Now, each one of those cards that you can see there is a workboard. So the way that you basically pick up these quests, and in doing it via this method, we'll know kind of who it was who picked up the quest. So we'll be able to talk about that in future cafes. We can also celebrate the work that you've done. So, you know, if, I don't know, Ator, for example, picked up that job for doing the research and went to Identity, created a KDE identity, joined Fabricator, and then went to the card here. You can see on the right hand side, this column, there are different cards for different things. There's one called Release Promo. I'll probably try and create one called Quests or perhaps, but anyway, you can see there's a number there, T7407 and T7399. So those are the tasks numbers that were on the Ninja Quest. So you can just pick those up and then do the work on them. And of course, you don't just have to pick those ones up. You could pick up other tasks if you wanted to. When their tasks are finished, they go into an archive, and we can look through that archive to see who's been doing what and what's been completed when, and so on and so forth, and pick that stuff up. But that's the place to begin. And of course, if you've got any questions, then you can always join IRC and ask us in the IRC channels or the mailing list. Post your questions to the mailing list, and somebody will help you out and get you started. So that was this week's Kubuntu Dojo. That gives you an insight and as to what we're doing. And that's the idea, is that the dojo will be quite short, give you a snippet of how to go about doing something in the community, whatever that might be, so that you can get a bit more hands-on and a bit more involved. That's our hope. All right, good stuff. Ovi's back. Let's see.
I had to take the dog out.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Well, it's getting quite late for you now as well, isn't it?
It's midnight.
So here's our second round of Unconference. We've got about 30 minutes left, or so in the Kubuntu Cafe. And of course, if people think that a 2-hour slot is too long, we can always cut that down. But kind of, it's fairly free form. That's your dog again, Ovi, growling. I must have. It's attacked all your leads and pulled the wires out of your pulled all the wires out of at the back of your computer. Right. Hang on a minute. I'm just looking for some notes here as to where we've got to. Right. Okie dokie. Unconference special. So I'm going to look to the audience now, and let me just try and throw a question out there and see who can put some stuff in chat or about what their thoughts are, or give us some pointers. But I would like to know kind of what are the things that you'd like to see, what are the directions you'd like to see Kubuntu as a community go in, or the Kubuntu project in general. What kind of things would you like to see us doing? Where do you think we should go next? What sort of things ought we to be doing to help promote and grow and develop Kubuntu overall? So that's something that I'd like you to just your ideas into the chat. Give me some pointers, because I am been talking for an hour and a half and I'm running out of ideas.
You mean Rick can actually stop talking?
Yeah. 2 hours are not long. Oh, yeah. Well, guess what time is it in the Urals now? It could even be later than you, Ovi. Because I think human beings out in the Urals is the Urals Eastern Russia? 3:30 a.m.
The Urals are the mountains that separate Europe from Asia.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So right. And Europe from Asia.
The
Wow.
dog
Okay.
is doing something again.
Let's let it is. So yeah. Okay. So what about what about you, Aaron? I mean, here's as a co-counsellor, what kind of views do you have for Kubuntu going forward? Where do you see what are the next steps for the project? What do you think it should do?
What? I've been in and out of the conversation. I've been having to do things.
Well, the conversation.
I still have to read more of your notes that in the last few meetings. I still have to read them before I can make that.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, we just flipped from doing the fabricator stuff to this Unconference section, and I kind of pitched it out to the audience because the idea is the community itself to kind of drive the conversation. And as it says here, hey, it's like anybody can say anything, and I don't know whether you were here we did one earlier on, and it turned into a talk about woodworking. But I was just
you mean yesterday?
No, this was earlier on this evening before you arrived.
Yeah.
So Charles says, just keep up the good work of producing a stable working KDE distro. Do you know, that's a really good point, actually. The one thing that we've been good at in Kubuntu is developing something that you can rely upon, and that's one of the reasons why I've been using it for so long. And for about, I don't know, for a number of months this year and later last year, I moved from Kubuntu to Unity using just ordinary Ubuntu. because I was trying to standardize our development team at work. So this is in a commercial sense where we were using it. Standardize the development team on that, and that was the standard setup, and nobody wanted to do that. Having got through that base now, I've now since moved back, and I work day to day on Plasma, and it's that reliability that's really important. I think I just find it's really solid. It works. I think the transition times. So when I did the tech preview, I was running the tech preview of Plasma 5 for a while, so you can't kind of expect that to be stable. And that did give me a few issues here and there, mostly to do with the window manager crashing and getting a black screen and things like this. But most of the time, it worked absolutely great. And that's really crucial, I think, really, is that because that builds sticky users. And what I mean, sticky users sounds terrible, doesn't it? But what I mean by that is users that will stick with us, that will, the distro isn't doing things that are unexpected. And so, people can use it as a reliable base. So that's a good one. Valerie says, tons of testing, especially for new applications. I wonder what are. I know we've got some test use cases on the QA stuff for Ubuntu, but I wonder just how much testing we get at the moment, and how we could grow that and accelerate that. Maybe we could do something in the dojo on that. Actually, I'm going to write that down. Actually, that's another good idea for the dojo. What do you think about?
I think Rick should lead the dojos.
Rick Mills.
Rick Mills lead the dojos.
Well, I think that'd be definitely. It'd be great to know more about maybe about packaging, bit about KCI, stuff like that. That would be.
Or maybe just write the manual a little bit for the ship for the dojos, at least.
Yeah. Okay. I think we definitely need to revisit some of the technical stuff. I know I did some stuff on packaging in the dojos, following some of the Kubuntu notes and some of the Debian packaging guides, and they were quite well received. Actually, I think people enjoyed them.
Charles, hang out in Kubuntu Develop.
I'm just writing these notes down very quickly. Bing brain stopped. What was the other one? Oh, yeah, okay. All right, else we got hang out in Kubuntu Devel. Ah, yeah, okay.
We should try to get more people to call in on this show.
Call in on this show. Call in on this show, you mean?
Yeah, because we have a number to dial.
Do we?
Yeah, it's at the top of the chat list. Or somewhere.
What? A telephone number? Does it work?
I don't know. I know it's there, and it's supported.
If you're unable to join, hang on. You can call in, dial 352-293, then enter
Extension.
using the built-in audio to join this meeting by phone. Oh, right. Okay. Very clever. All right. Okay. That's good. Valerie says, so there's some chat about comms channels here, the Kubuntu Devel and the mailing list. But the Kubuntu Devel mailing list, or at least Kubuntu users ML, are the most important. Yeah. Rick says, Rick says, question mark, really? Yeah. I mean, well, I've recently subscribed back to Kubuntu, and maybe it's just Kubuntu Devel and Kubuntu Council rather than just the general mailing list of Kubuntu. But I opted this time for a daily digest, and I highly recommend a daily digest if you're a very busy person, because otherwise you just end up with a mailbox full of stuff. Whereas the daily digest comes in and I can just read it, one email, and I can see what's been going on, which is rather good. I quite like that.
A caution: if you're going to write or reply to someone from a digest, though, copy and paste. Please don't just reply and leave the whole digest.
Oh yeah, okay, good point.
It's so annoying to read those emails.
Rick, my question mark really was about the phone number, not the mailing list.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Well, users.
This is the mailing list.
I get some testers from users, so I do write to the users because sometimes they'll test. And especially for 386, i386, those are the people who are like, no, we really need i386. Okay, well, then you have to test.
How busy is the general Kubuntu mailing list then, Valerie?
Not super busy, and not all the people are very know very much.
Okay.
And so if they have a problem, they don't necessarily know how to describe the problem. But to me, those are the users that we can really learn from. Like, if they're having problems, why are they having problems? Like, what do we need to make easier to understand or easier to fix? Some of them, of course, just have really old computers and, have been upgrading for like 10 years. So who knows what kind of crap they have.
Yeah, okay. But, well, it's a good point. And, ultimately, the whole point of an open source project is the benefit that you get back from having all of those testers testing and driving your product in various different ways that you couldn't automate and you wouldn't think of. Okay. Every time I come into this channel, I seem to keep developing a list of more and more things that need to be done. Now, what you got now? What you got now, Aaron? A Nintendo Switch.
Is Nintendo into making network devices now?
Yeah, it's a Switch for what?
The gaming console.
Oh, okay.
Playing Super Mario.
Oh, okay. All right. Is that Super Mario in like a 3D version rather than a 2D version?
Kickstand. Yeah. Super Mario Odyssey.
Okay. Right.
The video doesn't have this. I'm gonna make a video jealous. How do I use this?
I have a T-shirt with that, but I don't have a hoodie.
I have a hoodie.
Oh, I don't know. So now, in my infinite wisdom, the one thing that I didn't put forward, wrong mouse. Now, you see, I've confused myself today now because I've got 3 monitors sitting around me here, presentations and emails and Telegram on these 2 monitors and this one over here. I've got 2 keyboards on the desk and 2 mice, and I'm driving the wrong mouse on the wrong screen, typing the wrong words on the wrong keyboard. It needs work, guys. This really does need work. But the reason why I'm looking over here is because I've got a couple of slides missing because I didn't finish them in time before we got started. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, which has not been worked on yet, but I will I'll discuss it and maybe see what you guys think. I'd like to one of the slide after this one, if it had been uploaded in time, would say this: community job spot. Now, some of this what's the word? This idea incubated in my mind yesterday when I was talking with the council and trying to think about how we raise awareness and raising promotion. And I thought to myself, well, there's absolutely no way we're going to be able to do this on our own. If this is going, and what I mean is on our own, as in like with a council of 4 people and the resources that we've got at the moment. So what we need to do is, right, I got to stop for a moment. This is just good stuff. Check out that hat. Aaron, that's awesome, man. You got your monkey hat back, which is just magic. That's my favorite thing, that hat. I think it's ace when you got that on. Oh, and you've got a conky as well. Oh, that's cool. When were those conkies handmade? Am I right in thinking they were handmade?
Yes.
These are at last 2015 Academy.
Yeah, the Jonathan or someone, I don't know, talked with some. There was a group of old ladies that made those for us.
Wow. Now that's exclusive, isn't it?
I have sour gummies too. They're pretty interesting.
That is the best hat in the world, Aaron. It absolutely is the best hat in the world. I'm gonna try and get yeah. You see, it'd look rubbish on me. That would, but it looks ace on you. It's fantastic. I love that hat. So anyway, right. So as I was saying, right, coming back to this community job spot, right. So I want your input and your thoughts on this. I was thinking about this a little bit today, and I started to think about kind of like if you were the kind of roles you would need to run an organization or to or any kind of group of individuals. And I thought, well, there's a number of roles here that need to be considered, and I came up with 3 just at the top of my head. One was a Kubuntu project manager.
So this is how I had it set up originally. My mom moved it when I wasn't here.
Nice.
This is how I had it originally, but my mom moved it because Becky. I said, "Fuck it, whatever. It worked better here."
What's happening?
I had to stop for a moment. It sounded like I think a fight's broken out at Aaron's place. Somebody's tried to steal the monkey hat from him, and
No, he's not in Florida anymore.
And troubles ensued. Oh, I don't know what he is. He's in Denver. You know what those folks are like in Denver. Right. So here's 3 titles that I came up with. One was project manager. So for the overall project, and I kind of saw that sort of person being somebody that probably coordinates the work board in Fabricator and follows up with people, and just, if somebody's working on something and it's not been moved along for a long time, maybe they contact that person and just sort of, how's it going, in the traditional sense of what a project manager would do in an organization, which is mostly about communication and talking between the different people that are working on different things to make sure that things are moving forward. That would be a really good role to get, that somebody could get involved in and could take forward. And they could do that pretty much straight away because of the way the work board in Fabricator is organized. Another role would be a marketing manager. So this would be somebody that would take on the role of planning some structured marketing and structured communications around our release cycles. So when we go into an alpha cycle and we're looking for testers, we'd want to communicate that out. And so this person would work with the downstream below them would be people like the email marketing team or the emailing team that I was talking about. We're also working on this, developing a press relations contact list. And so the marketing manager would be involved in kind of coordinating those things. These are kind of leadership type roles, I suppose. And the other thing that came into my mind, which I'm really interested in, is the idea of an events manager. One of the things I was involved in the UK about 10 years ago now was the Linux user groups. And I know we had the locos that are advertised on our website, but there seems to be quite a lot of momentum. No, there seems to be not as much momentum in events and things like that as perhaps there used to be. And I have this sense that, having somebody that kind of coordinates and drives that. So those were 3 examples of things that we might reach out to the community for in this community job spot. And by finding exciting roles that are interesting and different. So yeah, of course we've got technical roles and we've got things like that, but trying to find more kind of soft roles, if you like, that are a bit more inclusive. And then perhaps talking about them here in this medium, maybe that would encourage people watching this later on YouTube or people in the cafe to think, yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind having a go at doing that, being the project manager. And so I wonder what your thoughts are. Perhaps type some ideas in the chat. What do you think, Ovi, while you're there?
Well, giving roles to volunteers would definitely motivate existing volunteers to continue contributing. But I see these roles as something that a regular or at least an involved user would take up on doing.
Okay.
The idea is we would like people to get more involved with their distribution. If they're using Kubuntu, it means they like it. Some kind of input, at least, if not some action, would be greatly appreciated from them. And we're trying different ways to achieve that. This is one of those ways.
Yeah. Agreed. Valerie says that a project manager is a good idea. I'll try to give a little bit more thought to that, Valerie.
Yeah, I like the idea of thinking about these various things we'd like to be doing and wrapping it up in something like the title project manager. It to me, that makes it easier to find somebody.
Then what would you define as a project? Kubuntu or a specific task?
Well, for Kubuntu. So it doesn't matter what the project is. The project manager would be the one saying, okay, well, we have this project. How's it going? Just staying in touch with people, not necessarily doing everything. In fact, not doing everything, but staying in touch with everybody. And then maybe, if we have somebody doing outreach, if there needs to be a story about it or tweeting about it or, more help needed or whatever, they can be the one getting in touch with the people who do that or actually doing it.
Okay.
So, that's what the best manager does at work, right? They make sure that you have everything you need to do your job and the support so that you know that what you're doing is valuable. Good to know you won the fight for the hat there, Aaron.
The fight for the hat? What was the fight? The best hat?
Uh-huh.
When you say project manager, I'm thinking of Agile Scrum project manager, which is the manager involved on the overviewer, basically, of a specific project. And that's what I'm asking. When you say project, do you mean Kubuntu or do you mean a task that is part of the Kubuntu project and we just have someone responsible to overview that task being done?
Yeah. So, well, Valerie says, she means Kubuntu. I mean Kubuntu too, but actually the definition that Valerie gave a moment ago was really precise for me, and I totally agreed with that, which is that the project manager's role is that of managing projects, almost in the context of what your Scrum Master position. So in your Agile Scrum, you're calling them a project manager that's managing the Scrum. But that person's job is to manage communication, to manage the Scrum tickets, the Scrum task board, and to make sure that those tasks are moving forward, that there's nothing stopping, blocking, there's no communication issues. And in that context, that project manager is managing the Scrum. A project manager for Kubuntu, for example, would do various tasks. So, for example, there might be a let's say, for example, we're deciding that we're going to do something at Academy on a short sketch, right? So we're going to go off to Academy again, and we're going to do something, and so on and so forth. A project manager might take on the role of project managing the Academy event. Equally, by the same score, when we're doing something like, like the workboards in Fabricator, where we've got the channel for Kubuntu community and the things that need to happen in the Kubuntu community, a project manager might manage that. Only in the sense of, is everything moving along forward? Is there anything blocking you from moving this forward? Is there anything needs fixing? Do we need to communicate with this person, with that person? And Valerie really summed it up well when she said, not doing, but communicating. That's the really important thing for a project manager. They're a really strong communicator who likes to talk with lots of different people and organize and coordinate things and resolve issues and be a fixer. That's what I think, that's what I'm meaning as well. What I'll do is, but I'll give some more thought to this, and obviously I'm going to once I've got this overall Kubuntu Cafe presentation slide thing put together, I'll share that out so that I'll create a link and share it so that people can go and have a look at what we've put together. And when we do the next cafe, I'll be able to run through the full board. In between now and that time, I'll prepare some job roles that basically describe what these, or position roles rather than job roles, it would be better, that describe what these positions are and what that person would be doing. And I'll bring those to the council for a council meeting. And then hopefully when the community gathers again for the next cafe, we'll actually have some roles that we can say, hey, if you're this type of person and you fancy doing this kind of thing, then you know, put your hand up, let us know, and let us start working with you to onboard you into the community, and let us point you in the right direction so you can actually roll your sleeves up and get involved with what we're doing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my voice is more or less run out of steam. I feel like I've done quite a lot of talking, but I'm so grateful that Ovi and Aaron have turned up. I was thinking to myself, I thought, oh, I hope they turn up, and I hadn't heard anything on Telegram, and I thought, oh no, I hope they're going to be there. And so I'm really pleased that you guys are here. Thanks. Thank you both very much.
Glad to be here.
Well, I suppose what we ought to do is, I'm trying to remember what we used to do before. We used to say goodbye, and it used to go around like this, didn't it? It would say, I'd be saying cheerio, and then it'd go to Ovi, cheerio, and Aaron should get the last word, because Aaron always gets the last word and gets to show off his monkey hat. To all of you lovely people that turned up in the big blue button and joined us here today, thank you so much. I hope you really enjoyed it. I really have. It's been good stuff from start to finish. It's been great chatting with you and having you all here. I look forward to seeing you next month at the next cafe. So in the meantime, have a great month, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye. Over to you, Ovi.
So this has been a lovely experiment. I'm considering it a success with the Kubuntu Cafe. Just like to see people from the community more involved, not just in the chat. They can speak if they want to, not just type. But typing is perfect. So no pressure. So I'm hoping to see you in the next Kubuntu Cafe. Yeah. Aaron?
Thanks for coming, everybody. It's been an interesting experiment. Sorry about being late. I didn't kind of lost track of time fixing apartment stuff. See you in the next one, guys and ladies.
See you all next time.
Thanks for doing it.
Thank you, you three, and everybody else who attended and contributed.
See you all. Bye bye. Right, there we go. And stop the recording.